the painting of the beast coming right up. Hey up, I'm Galzinski, this is Rivets and Daka, and you are in for a treat. On tonight's show, I'm going to show you how I painted the beast, my mega deffrolla for my upcoming battlefortress. I'm a bit undecided as to whether to use the original model I was going to use or something else, but more of that later. Amazing things in the community this week. A good friend of mine, John, over in the States, he'd seen a couple of my videos, but he couldn't find them all, and he knew there were more, as few as there are. So he just, out of the blue, checked his old account, and there they were, the rest of my videos. But not only that, some long lost YouTube footage of his pet dogs that fairly recently were both lost, quite close to each other. Obviously John and his wife were devastated, but they'd lost this footage for quite a long time, and because John went looking for my videos, he found them again, and I'm so glad to be a part of that for you, John, and please do enjoy that, and you owe me nothing, mate. I was so glad to be a part of you finding that footage. So moving on, got my notes upside down. It's been a while since my last video because so much has happened. I'll go down the list first. Scania, Plastic Rat Gaming, had the Kaiser on his show on the live hangout, which will be about a week and a half ago now. Amazing hangout. Two legends who know more about other game systems than I know about 40k. Anyway, it was a great hangout. Scania and the Kaiser, two legends, chatting about hobby. Great chat in the comments as well. It was a really good hangout. If you haven't seen it already, please go and check it out. Amazing achievements. Leon Frank, Leon T66, who does the historical war game stuff, Napoleonic and American Civil War and stuff like that. Amazingly ranked up miniatures. He's just reached 300,000 views. Amazing achievement, Leon, well done, mate. Keep doing the good work. And also Barry, Underdog Painting, 75,000 views. Amazing achievement, Barry. Keep up the good work. I can only dream of that sort of views from my position at the moment. I hope I get there eventually, but great achievements both of you. Moving down the list. This morning I was going to stay in bed and watch it because it came up last night. Clinton's Essex Boys, that ref, Space Wolves versus Orcs. Great little game, I won't give the game away. I didn't get a chance to watch it in bed, unfortunately. I had to do something first and then I managed to catch it mid-morning. But amazing little bat ref. Clinton's scenery, as ever, is absolutely second to none. The terrain, the scenery, and it's done in such a fun way, you just can't get enough of it. Nice one, Clinton. Hope to see you very soon, mate. We'll catch up. What else we got? Yeah, another thing that's happened to me this week, well, in the last couple of weeks, Spud from Chilling Wargamers invited me to join the group, which I did, and I've attended a couple of the live hobby hangouts that he's been doing while they've been painting his orcs. The Spud, Pickle Jar and Elston, members of the Chilling Wargamers, who all have channels of their own. Please check it all out. Spud's put this challenge out, which I'm going to tell you about in a future video. Everything's got backed up just recently. While I've been in the middle of making this one, I've also reached 150 subs myself. So as soon as I finish this one, because my editing suite, because I won't pay any money, tight Yorkshireman, my editing suite won't let me start making another video until I finish this one and uploaded it, and that's it. So after this one, immediately after this one, we're going to do the prize draw and giveaway for the 150 subs milestone. More of that in the 100 subs video. If you haven't commented yet, you're too late anyway. So Chilling Wargamers, go and check them out. Absolutely amazing guys. Spud is the most chilled out bloke I've ever met in wargaming, and I haven't even met him. I'm going to take up this challenge of Spuds in the video after the next video being the prize draw and giveaway. And just about the tutorial that I'm about to show you, I didn't at the end say it, but I hadn't varnished it because I'm not going to mix up a batch of varnish just to paint that. I'll wait till I've got a load to do and then I'll do them all at once. I forgot to say that in the tutorial. The makeup brushes that I use for dry brushing, if you do get some and you do use them, immediately after using, and don't use them for a long period of time between washes, go and wash them out in warm soapy water under the tap, running water, and they'll last you a lifetime. Because of the nature of dry brushing, if you don't do that on a regular basis, it will dry onto the bristles and you will ruin them. They'll last you a long time if you do that in between dry brushing sessions. And because of the nature of dry brushing, like I said, it does do it quite quick. Only have short bursts of dry brushing with them and then go and wash them out. You can always change to another brush, carry on with the next bit till that one's dry, but always use them dry. So that was about the brushes, and some of you might notice an 8-digit number that's on my cutting pad while you're watching this video. It's nothing personal to me, but if anyone can tell me in comments what they think it is and what it relates to, I'll give you a shout in the next video or one after next. So that's that. And just one more thing before we go to the painting is my mini of the week, which is George's old school gather. I love this when he put it up. G the Hyper Sapien, go and check it out. Full tutorial on YouTube. G the Hyper Sapien. I've nearly forgot to do this and I thought, oh, mini of the week, because I've forgotten it before. And the first thing I thought when I thought mini of the week, George's old school gather popped into my head. I used to have this model, twice actually. I had him painted up for my Rogue Trader Army or 2nd edition. He got sold on with the army when I sold it and dropped out of the hobby for a while. And it really brought back a load of memories, this. I've still got the other model in bits. I think I've had the horns off and the sword. Anyway, here it is for your viewing pleasure. George's old school gather. I think he's done a great job with it. And we get straight on into the tutorial after that. So here we go. And I'm going to take you straight down to the tutorial now. And I hope you enjoy it. I'm not going to come back at the end. I'm just going to say goodbye when you've seen it. And I'll see you in the next one. The 150 subs, prize draw and giveaway. Bye for now. Okay then, it took me about an hour and a half to get to this stage. Spent about half an hour towards the end of Spud's live stream, putting on some typhus corrosion. I just lathered a load of typhus corrosion all over it with a cheapo synthetic brush that I've got here. This is going to kill your brush, doing a big thing like this with typhus corrosion. That's the best I can get that brush now, but this is what I use for typhus corrosion anyway. I haven't blathered it on too thick. I've spread it out, worked it around in places. You can see the white plastic still showing through. Doesn't matter, we'll tend to that later on. So what I've done, I've covered it all in typhus corrosion, and then I've let it get nearly dry, almost dry. So that's stage 1, typhus corrosion. I started at the other end then, forget the Abaddon black for a minute. I started with null oil. I did all these deepest areas, see them? All the first layer of plastic before I started adding stuff, apart from the grid bits, I've done them in black, null oil. And I've worked my way through using lighter and lighter shades as I've gone on, and leaving more than I actually paint. And I've gone straight onto the typhus corrosion with the various washes on various panels to get the patchy look. And that's all it is. Typhus corrosion and citadel shades washed on selectively. I don't even think it was an hour and a half to get me to that stage. And loads of people have said on the Facebook group, wow, that looks safe. Another thing I've done, you might be able to notice, I've gone round all the holes I've drilled with a bit of Abaddon black, or Abaddon black, don't know how you say it properly, jury's still out. I prefer Abaddon, because I am. I've just gone over some of where the null oil didn't darken it enough, just to create a bit of contrast between the background and the individual bits that I've glued on. And that's just stage 1. But tabletop, I mean, even where the white plastic's showing through, it still reads as metal on your eye. See what I mean? Still looks like metal shining in the light. But we're going to take it a stage further. And to do that, I'm going to use a colour that I haven't used yet on it, which is this. Celestra Grey, Citadel base colour. The reason I'm using that, it looks very white on screen, but it's actually slightly blue. So it'll trick your eye into thinking it's a reflection from the sky when it's done. And what I'm going to do with this, I'll just push these back out the way for a moment, make myself a bit of room. I'm going to dry brush all of this with that grey. Oh, you'll ruin it, you all say. Well, up to now we've got washes or shades on a very dark typhus corrosion base. Even this green, this is Beal Tan green over the typhus corrosion and the almost bare plastic in places. It doesn't read as green, but we'll be going over it with the grey and then applying the green again, and the green will make the grey green. And places like, so this panel here, this little yellow one, that was just Cassandra yellow, straight over typhus corrosion. While it was a bit damp, it's moved it about a bit, giving it a great effect. Once we've got a bit of grey on there, highlighting it, and we add the yellow again, it'll automatically highlight it for you. No skill involved in this, just keeping between the line. You're only painting the panel you mean to paint, but there's literally no time consuming, heavy concentration. It's really good fun to do. So, first stage, typhus corrosion and various citadel shades on various panels. Select them how you like to get to this stage, and then we're going to dry brush it. I bought a bunch of these for dry brushing. That's number 31, look. I think they're about 36 or something in the set. Bought them on Amazon, about 13, 14 quid, about 20 US dollars. They're really soft. They're the best things I've ever found for dry brushing. So we're going to do that now, and I'll show you the application. I've given this a good shake before I came on camera. And I put a good dollop in there. I'm using up my old Citadel stuff to do things like this. I've got a load of new different paints for doing miniatures. I'm just going to mount this. Oh, to show you what I did do. I've already dry brushed that bit with the grey. Just gently, just a little bit. Less is more. Because I'm going to hold it that way up. I'm going to put my custom handle in it. Oh, wrong way. It's just a bit of styrene rod, 2 bits actually, so I can hold it while I'm painting it. I'll try and keep this on screen as much as possible. I've got my bit of paper there for drying off my brush. You literally need to just touch this with your brush. See that? And now we're going to dry it off nearly all together. Oh, can't do that. I'll just turn it over. Yeah, it's hardly making a mark now. Because this in life would be spinning around this way, most of the shading would be in this direction. So I'm just going to do it like that. A little bit at a time. See how that's beginning to pick out that detail? Bit that way. It isn't a lot, but you can see what I'm getting at here. Majority of it that way. I'm going to have another dip. Less that time. That's better. Now it's picking out that detail now. Be ashamed to not be able to see all these nuts and bolts and rivets and that. Now I've spent all that time sticking them on. This is just going to pick them out. A bit that way, but mostly that way. Can you see that? Mostly that way, but a bit that way. Bit more. Literally a touch. Oh, stand still, that's better. See there? Literally after 2 minutes, you're starting to see all that detail popping through. So I'm going to carry on doing that till I'm happy with it. And I'll be right back. Right, as you can see, I've finished doing that stage now, the dry brushing. I give it one do, and then I went and had my dinner. I came back and gave it another do. Picked out all that detail now. So now I can go back in with the shades. And I'll start with the lightest at this stage, because it's more important now. Didn't matter earlier because you're going to cover it up with all this. So I'll start with this yellow panel here, and I'll put a bit of this on. I've left my brush over there, 2 seconds. There we go. Straight out the pot. Bit hard doing this on camera. You can get that in a good position. Sort of. That might be better. I'm only using a small brush for this because I want to be quite accurate now. Don't need much. And that grey's already give you a better colour gradient on that yellow, and that's one of the shades of rust anyway. I'll do another one quickly. Got another yellow one over here. These look like brass later. Some of the yellow ones, some of them will just like they were painted yellow and it's now worn off. So easy. Find another yellow one. There's that one there that I showed you earlier. And if you're working up from your light colours to your dark colours, doesn't matter if you splodge over the edge a bit, you just cover it up with the next one. Looks like a bit of rust is leaked over to the other panel. This is a totally better colour gradient you've got on that now. Bit brighter. So I'm going to use various colours, various of these Citadel shades. I'm going to spend probably another hour going over this again, and then I'll come back to you again and we'll see how we've progressed. We're still at skill level 0. I'm sure anybody can paint a panel like that without going too far off the edge. So we're still on skill level 0, and by the time we've done this bit we'll be on, I would say, 2.5 hours, because it's quicker the second time. So I'll do that bit and I'll come back and show you where we are using that process. Okay then. What has just been a few moments for you has been several days for me. I got this part done, and I'll be honest with you, there's about 3 hours more work there. So I'll give it all the benefit of the doubt and I'll say we're at 5 hours of painting now. And on a big thing like this, that's not too bad. Yeah, I've had a few days since I did this, because work intervened, but I'm very grateful for it. So now we've got to this stage, which is several coats, 2 or 3 at least on each component. At every stage up to now, I've avoided, especially with the typhus corrosion, getting anything on these tips, because I want them to be fairly smooth, because they're the bits getting ground down in the dirt. I've gone over with 1 or 2 of the Citadel shades on each part, and then I've gone over everything with a very thin down wash of the Fuegan orange Citadel shade, just to tie everything in together. And the next thing I'm going to do is dry brush it again, but not as heavily this time, and only in this direction, up and down. And I'm just going to try and catch the very tops of the most pokiest of the spiky bits, not get down too deep into the surface parts. These have already got quite a good little edge highlight on them from the grey dry brush earlier, which is still showing through 2 coats of wash or shade. But what I'm going to do this time, after I've dry brushed it, is very selectively go back in with the washes and differentiate the colours between the nuts and the panels that they're holding on. Pick out these little bits a bit different, and on the very tips of all the spiky bits we're going to use blue for the first time. There's no blue on this yet at all. apart from the bluey grey that I use for the dry brush. But I'm going to use a blue wash selectively once I've dry brushed it again on these studs, which I'd like to think were a bit of a harder metal that doesn't rust as easily as the softer metal that it's attached to. Same with these edge spikes, they're going to get the same treatment. I haven't bothered with the ends at all yet, because I'm going to do those once it's all mounted, because it's very difficult to get hold of at the minute. It's quite heavy too, so you don't want it in your hand for too long. So what I'm going to do is give it that little tiny dry brush. I'm not going to make you watch that. I'll come back when I've done that, and then I'll show you how I start selectively picking out some of the smaller features on it. At this stage we're only on skill level 2 to get through here. Anyone can do this. We're going to get a little bit more selective in the next bit, but it's the only bit after the next dry brush, the only bit where you've got to start taking a bit more care and attention to get the effect that you want. But up to this level, it's just been a joy and a breeze to do, shoving washes around, messing about with different colour combinations, just to get a bit of variety, but an overall rusty look. So I'll do that dry brush now, and then I'll come back to you again. Right then, I finished all the dry brushing, and I spent another hour and a quarter, hour and a half. This is the dry brushed area here, showing white. These, that's just the Celestra grey dry brush, and you can see I've caught on here, caught these edges, tops of these nuts. On this half, I've gone right round this one again with the Fuegan orange, avoiding the larger of the nuts. I haven't avoided the smaller ones in between. On the dags, these ones I've touched with a blue wash. I'll go back to that one in a minute. These ones here, you can just about see, I've touched those with a blue wash, which wasn't a Citadel one. The Citadel one's too black, so I've done a very thin wash of this blue from Secret Weapon. I've used about 5 drops of flow improver, about the same again of distilled water, to 1 or 2 drops of this, thinned it right down, and then I've just gone over the tips of all the very biggest studs with the blue. On this row here, you can see that's just the basic dry brush. That's with the blue. I hope you can see that difference. It looks a lot more blue off camera. And then this one had the same treatment, but then it's been gone over with Agrax Earthshade. That one hasn't had the blue. This one, this one, this one have had the blue, but then an Agrax Earthshade over the top, which desaturates the blue and reads as a reflection off the metal. This one hasn't had the blue, that's just a straight Agrax Earthshade over the dry brush, which I don't know if you can see, if you compare it with that one's got a slightly bluer tinge to it. It reads more as a daylight reflection to your eye. I've gone around all these areas, sometimes avoiding the nuts, sometimes hitting them with the orange as well. And then when I've done that, I've gone round with either an Agrax Earthshade or the black or a dark blue in places. It shows up as dark brown anyway on this. And I've just spot washed these. That one there, that's heavy Agrax, very heavy, big drop of it on there, let it dry off. That one's a lighter application of Agrax. That one is just a Fuegan orange over the dry brush. I might touch that with something a bit darker later on. All these rivets round here have had a spot wash, just to darken the ring round them. And I've pretty much done this half. Everywhere I've gone round adding darker shades, I've gone round the outside edge with a pin wash, just to separate the areas better. Actually, I haven't done it on that one yet. That was one I'm saving for you, that panel. This panel here, showing you that one. I've gone round all these with a dark wash. I've got that one to do yet, them few rivets on there. This was a Thornian camo shade, straight over the dry wash. And then Agrax Earth shade over the nuts. These have had Agrax Earth shade just over the dry brush on the nuts. So it reads like they're worn a little bit. That's just layers and layers together. I've built these colours up. That was red followed by the yellow, Carroburg crimson followed by the Cassandora yellow. The ones I want to read as brass, the various items, that one, these spikes here, this stud, this piece of cog, I want them to sort of fool you into thinking they're brass. Over the dry brush I've gone Cassandra yellow, followed by a Thornian camo shade, followed by the Seraphim sepia on these. All the ones that I want to look like bits of brass. That was just plain sepia over the dry brush. We haven't done much on this side yet apart from those bits. There was a bit I wanted to show you. Can't see it now myself. Oh yeah, I showed you that bit already. Some of these panels on this side, I've gone all over this with Wagon Orange after adding yellow on that one, red on that one. Just keep mixing and matching your colours. That's Carroburg crimson, that panel that's behind that centre section there. I've left that one to show you what I'm going to do with it. I'll just show you how easy it is to do these little pin washes around the nuts, just to make them pop out. And then we'll do a little bit of washing. And then I'll go away and finish it off, and I'll come back to you again. So we'll just do a little bit of pin washing. I'll get some Null oil. This is such a simple technique. You need a long skinny brush. It's a bit hard to do this on camera. That's why I'm only showing you a little bit, then I go over to my hobby table, finish it off and come back to you. This area here, this very orange area, this sort of panel in there, see that one was similar, and that one, before I went round with the pin washing, it just takes it all back down again. Well, I hope I can do this on camera. All I'm going to do is, where can we start, where I can get to? I think I have already done that one anyway. Shaking a bit because I can't see what I'm doing. But because it's a wash, it finds its own way around. You've only got to touch them. It looks worse now than it does when it dries. I've got a camera in my face here and a lamp in my ear. But you can't really go wrong with these washes, these shades. They do blend in nicely. It looks terrible at the moment, but you give it 5 minutes, it'll all drift in. Put a bit round there. I'll touch it on and send it in the direction you want it to go. And it just hangs in there. I haven't done these rivets yet, these nuts. Avoided them with the orange. Get a bit on the top there. It looks like metal with that edge highlight. And then just get a little pin wash around there. Just works its way around. Forms a shadow, same with them. touch the point in there. You don't have to be very accurate, but this is the tedious part of the whole process. You don't have to be accurate at all. Just get some in there. It's rust after all, it does what it wants. You might have to put a bit of shadow in there. Separate panels while you're going. Just adds that little bit of definition. Get some shadow down in there. Give these nuts a touch. After this stage, the final bit is going to be a very selective little highlight dry brush, just here and there, just catching the tops of such as these little rivets here, because the shades have desaturated the edge highlights in a lot of places. That's gone dark now, you know, these edges here, same as these. There's still a edge highlight there, but it's starting to get a bit subdued now with the various shades being added. That little panel there, fill all that in with the nut. Spot these, dead easy. Because I'm normally a bit better than this. I have got a camera in my face. A bare light bulb burning me right here. But you get the idea. And you can't go wrong really with it. Can't make a mistake. It's dirt and muck after all. So that's how I did this side. I'm going to do a little bit of shading on this side. Oh. On some panel I haven't done yet. While I've got this on the go, this Nuln Oil, I've got a little bit of a fatter brush here. Oh. Citadel pots, closing on me just when I don't want something. I'm going to have a mess about with this panel here. I haven't used black on a full panel yet. The Nuln Oil. I'm going to do the top edge with a bit of black. Try and avoid these nuts as much as possible. You'll be surprised how unblack that looks when it dries. Just do this one. Now I'll go away and do what I've done to the right hand side, to all the left hand side. A few little mix and matches, a few little experiments here and there. On this panel here I've just gone in with a bit of yellow, splashed it in on these nuts. I was thinking maybe I'll make them nuts look like brass, but it'll all be going over with orange when it's done anyway, to blend it all in so it looks like this side. So I've still got about another hour and a half to do. That'll bring us up to about 8 hours for the full job, and then the final little pièce de résistance, the little selective dry brush highlight, which is the last stage before varnishing. And then I'm going to leave it at that, but after that you can do other little things which I'll tell you about at the end, just to take it that one little step further. But for my purposes I'm not going to bother with it. I'm going to finish this, a quick dry brush top edge highlight just on the very extremities. I'm going to call it done. So when I finish this I'll come back, I'll just show you how I'll pick them last tips out. So we've finished all the work with the Citadel shades now. Gone over every bit with one or two of the same or a couple of different shades to achieve these effects. And what I've also started doing on the next stage with another one of these makeup brushes is, I don't know if you can see this properly, on this area here I've just started going in with the Rise of Rust, And I'm just starting to pick out the texture of this and just give it another little final highlight, give it a bit more depth. So I'll go over all the orange bits with a bit of riser rust. I've also used a bit of ushabti bone to start picking out the bits that are brass. Just a very quick touch with a dry brush. Just want these to read like brass. Same with this bit of a cog or gear thing that's here. And this, they might get another touch yet. I've already gone over these once with a little bit of the ushabti, just to give it that final highlight. There's a couple of other areas that still need it yet. I just did them couple just to show you. I'm going to go back over all the hard steel studs and spikes with the Celestra Grey, just a touch again, very little delicate touch like I've done with that on the brass. And on the very edges of these where it hasn't worn back down to clear metal, maybe on the odd edge of these pieces here, I'm going to come in with the Lugganath orange with a very, very final touch, edge highlight, just catching little corners like this, very little tiny bits, just to pull them out a little bit more. So we'll go in with the Celestra Grey, which is the first dry brush colour we use. I'm going to use this one of the makeup brushes for this one. It's double use. You can use it that way to get into narrow places, use it that way to get a nice soft edge on a long edge. So I'm going to use that and a bit of Celestra Grey just to pick out the final highlights on the top steel bit, excuse me, not the camera. So I'm working in a box here. So that's off camera, but I'll bring the, get rid of them over there, put that there, just so you can see me drying the brush off. A quick dip of that, hitting the camera. So it's hardly leaving anything on, and I'm just going to do this. That's all. Just a touch. I'll go that way with that one because it's very thin. Getting a bit dry now, that. Another little dab. It is literally there. I think this, we'll do that one. That's a brass one, that's a brass one. We'll catch that one. I think that's all of them. Yeah, we've been round there. Then we're going to catch all these little studs as well. Up and down once or twice, that's all it is. Catch that one again. There's one. One over there. One there. Done that one. Catch that one. And that bunch of nuts at the same time. Pick that out. Another stud there. Another stud there. One more there. Catch that nut. Keep it in camera with paintbrush. Give that a quick top highlight. Another stud there. Catch top of them. See what I mean? The lighting's not brilliant. You see it's starting to get a bit of a shine on it now. That's with all the Citadel shades as you build them up to develop a shine. I'm going to use AK Interactive Ultra Matte Varnish through the airbrush, which will be the first time I've used the airbrush on this. You can brush it on by hand as well. But no paint involved, well, very little paint involved. That's just a tiny little highlight on the steel bits. I've still got the edge pointy bits to do. These here. Just a quick so simple. Vary it up a bit. Lost count. Yeah, bin there. This side. And even though you can't see that blue wash anymore on these, it's still under there, shining through. And your eye sees it, even if your brain, your conscious brain doesn't pick it up. Your subconscious will. Now I'm going to carry on doing that. Might get a few like that. A few of the big ones. Very subtle. Don't have to go mad. The brush is practically dry. Don't have to go right down to the deep ones. They've already got that little edge highlight that you created with the earlier dry brushing. Get these edge nuts. And it does look better in real life than it does on camera, to be honest. But I think you'll admit. They look like steel bolts through rusty metal. And we haven't used any metallic, true metallic paint on this at all. If you are gonna, I'm not going to, but if you do want to, after you've done the final matte varnish, you can go in and pick these grey highlights up with a bit of silver and maybe a little bit of gold on the edges of these if you want to. I'm not going to bother. I might do a bit more weathering with some pigments once it's on the vehicle, just to set it into its environment. But all I'm going to do now is mess about with these till I get what I want, till it gives me the final result. And I'll come back and show you it when I've finished all that, and that'll be called done. And that will have taken between 8.5 and 9 hours of painting. So I'll come back to you when it's completely done, and that'll be it. So I am going to call that done now. I've gone in very subtly with a bit of the rise of rust, and the other one not a lot different to when you last saw it. Very subtle, the changes, it's very difficult to see them on camera. But I'm going to call that done. I can safely say it was under 9 hours painting, which isn't bad for something this size, and I'm sure you'll agree it looks a business. So thanks for watching, thanks for subbing, thanks for everything else. I'm going to go off now and do the 150 subscriber prize draw and giveaway. You may be a winner. Pop round and see. For now, thanks for watching and goodbye. See you soon.